Hello, it's Richard from Saldatore Distribution again. Today what we're going to talk about is replacing the motor mounts or the vibration dampers, if you will, on your MOSA equipment. What we find is under heavy use or long-term use, the motor mounts, which are made of rubber, do tend to give away and break. We found a few people that are very hard on the machines have prematurely broken them as well. Now, what you'll find is the motor mount itself is basically steel and another piece of steel that has been bonded to a rubber, allowing for the machine to vibrate and still be attached so it doesn't break anything. It allows vibration. What we found is you'll get one of two things happening. When they break, either the top will break off of it, or conversely, you can actually get the bottom to break loose as well. So when you're looking at the mount, you have one end is a female, one is a male. Basically, a nut and a washer go on the top, or a bolt goes into the bottom. There are three of them located on the machine to take care of the vibrations, and they're simply held. So as an example, here's the one closest to us. This one's the easiest to get to, so I'll show changing this particular one, but all three are pretty straightforward. But this is the simplest to get to. What you'll find is it's sitting in this fashion here, where a nut is going to go on the bottom and the bolt goes through the top. One thing that we have done is we've gone ahead and we found some upgraded mounts for it. You can see the difference in size. It's approximately 30% stronger than the original mounts, and they fit in there just fine. The dimensions are equal on all sides. Everywhere. These are metric because they come from overseas, so you're going to need some metric tools. The nut and the bolts that are on the machine should work just fine. What you're going to need to replace is a 13mm wrench and a 13mm deep socket. The reason for the deep socket is because of the length of the stud where the nut goes. You need a deep socket to be able to get to that nut without it bottoming out. So if you wanted to replace this corner one, get it up on a table. If you're going to actually replace any of the others, you're going to want to drain the oil and the fuel out of it so you can tip the machine over to be able to get to it a little bit easier. The front one, which is right under here, is in behind the cover. That one you can do. I really don't recommend that you do that yourself. I would take it in to get a service repair center to do that properly. It's not the end of the world, but it's better that you let someone else take care of that. So there's one in the front and one on each side. If your machine is under a lot of stress, you're using it a lot, and it's outdoor use where you're on uneven ground all the time and you're fear breaking it, there are two other bosses that are cast into the machine here and on the other side, exactly the same, where you could, in theory, if you wanted to mark it, you could drill a hole into the bottom plate. There's nothing on the bottom plate here that'll disturb it. So here's the original one. You could drill a hole through there and put in another one under this location here. Now, one thing you got to take note of, there is a plastic spacer on some of these. So if you're going to put one here, you're going to need a spacer to go in between to make that the appropriate length. Otherwise, you're going to come up a little bit short. But that you could do with washers or cut a piece of plastic and put a hole in it. Either way, you can put an additional one here and on the other side, which would give you 5. And then you would never have any breakage ever. I mean, you would be hard pressed to break that. To replace it, basically what you're going to do is you're going to get your wrench, put it on top of the nut here, get your socket onto the bottom, and once you've loosened the nut, and what you're going to do is you're going to also loosen the bolt. Remember, just because you loosen that doesn't loosen this, because this is a bolt. So once you've got the two ends loose, you're going to remove the nut. You're going to unscrew the bolt. and there's a washer underneath. And now basically you can remove that. So as you can see, this is the washer that I told you to make up the gap difference because it's not quite long enough, but that's not a problem. So you can choose, here's one of the larger upgraded ones. I'm going to, for now, put that in place. So you just slip it into the bolt, slip it in place like this. Take your bolt, locate it into the hole with the threads, the female side. And by fingertip, you can actually wind that all the way down right to the bottom, and then take your nut. And once again, with your fingertips, there is no washer on the bottom. It's only the nut. You spin that on with your fingers, and then you just basically tighten it up. Spin your ratchet around, and you can just tighten that up. Tight. And you're going to take this, tighten this down. There you go, that's it. That's replacing it, and now you're back to normal. And what you'll notice is, even just changing this one to the larger size, you're actually getting a little bit less vibration. This is a little bit stronger, holds a little bit more firmly in place. And if you're to go ahead and place an order, you can always get 3 of those to replace, and then it'll be a lot stiffer, a lot stronger, and last a lot longer. So that's it for now. Hopefully that was helpful. If you run into that in the field, you can order the parts from any of your local dealers. They'll have it, or in warranty service centers that we're setting up across Canada and the US. They'll take care of it, or you could change those yourself and you're back to going. Thanks very much. See you soon. Bye-bye.